Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving into something incredibly personal and honestly super complex. We're talking about the reality of hidden struggles. If you're navigating an unseen battle right now, I want you to know this space is here to fiercely validate your experience. We're looking at the invisible identity and really focusing on how to move away from the sheer exhaustion of needing external validation and toward the quiet, absolute power of self-validation. So let's jump right into the emotional core of this. Why do we feel the need to perform our pain just to be believed? It's a huge question, right? Because your struggle is invisible. It's like society demands some sort of visible performance from you before they'll extend even a little empathy. We're going to unpack exactly why that happens, and more importantly, how you can finally break free from that completely exhausting expectation.
Let's move into our first phase, Section 1, the invisible struggle, suffering in silence.
When we're talking about conditions like fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue, or even deep emotional grief, we're dealing with a really harsh reality. There are no casts, there are no bandages, no outward signs at all. To the outside world, you probably look completely normal. But that creates this profoundly lonely disconnect between your intense internal pain and everyone else's external perception. It's literally like you're climbing a treacherous mountain every single day, but to everyone watching, it just looks like you're taking a casual stroll. You're carrying a monumental weight that casts absolutely no shadow. And because you look fine on the outside, you inevitably get hit with a constant stream of well-meaning but utterly exhausting phrases. Things like, "But you don't look sick," or the classic, "Maybe you just need more sleep." Look, it is entirely valid to feel frustrated by this. Hearing those phrases over and over again, it carelessly reduces a deeply complex internal reality to just a trivial inconvenience. And that friction brings us right to Section 2, the burden of proof, a secondary layer of suffering. Just navigating the physical or emotional condition is hard enough on its own, right? But then comes this intense secondary layer of suffering caused entirely by other people's judgments. This is what we call the burden of proof. It's the incredibly exhausting act of trying to justify, explain, or prove your invisible pain to a world that just cannot see it. You find yourself trapped in this really draining loop. It's exactly like being on trial every single day for an offense you didn't commit, desperately presenting your medical records or trying to explain your fatigue to a jury that just doesn't get it. So this puts you at a major crossroads, searching for external validation, desperately wanting someone to just look at you and say, "I see how hard you're fighting." It inevitably falls short. And when it does, it rapidly drains your inner voltage. The empowering alternative here, protecting your inner voltage. This is all about making the conscious choice to stop waiting for the world to see it and start actively guarding your own precious energy. Which leads us perfectly into Section 3, reclaiming your inner voltage, dropping the need for permission. To finally step out of that courtroom of public opinion, you have to take action. First, you've got to stop explaining your stillness. Second, reclaim your power. And third, redirect all that saved energy directly into your own emotional healing. Look, absolutely no jury is required to validate your pain before it becomes real. I'm here to tell you right now that you do not need anyone's permission to be tired. The exact moment you stop running yourself ragged trying to make others understand is the exact moment you take your power back. We all know society measures worth by daily productivity. But you know what? You don't have to. Your inner voltage does not belong to the people who are judging your slow pace, and it certainly doesn't belong to a culture completely obsessed with what you do or produce on any given day. Your journey might be totally unseen by the world, but it is fully and deeply known by you. And that's what matters. Knowing that truth brings us to our final transformational arc today. Section 4, finding your unshakable center, anchoring your identity. Living with a hidden struggle actually forces a pretty profound transformation. It pushes you away from a superficial identity built on actions and output and moves you toward a truly unshakable core. But to get to that unshakable center, we first have to fiercely strip away the superficial labels. Listen to me on this. You are not your diagnosis. You are not a medical label, and you are most certainly not a burden. Getting rid of those false identities reveals a really beautiful truth. The struggle is changing you, absolutely, but it isn't breaking you. The sheer, incredible strength it takes to navigate a world that simply doesn't see your obstacles is absolute proof of your resilience. Think about it for a second. You are fighting massive, incredibly complex battles in total silence. And yet you're still here. You're still breathing. You are still choosing grace every single day. That kind of strength absolutely deserves to be celebrated. So, who are you actually becoming through all of this? Well, you're becoming deeply self-aware. You are fiercely protective of your peace, and you are entirely self-validated. Reinforcing this internal anchor leads to a true spiritual awakening. It's that pivotal moment you finally decide that your internal reality all on its own is enough. Your peace is your boundary, and you are the author of your unseen journey. You no longer need to explain your stillness to anyone ever again. You can just stay comfortably right there in that stillness and reserve your precious inner voltage strictly for what actually matters in this life, your own emotional healing and well-being. As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a final, slightly provocative thought. Will you step out of the courtroom of public opinion today? I challenge you to officially and finally drop the need to prove your struggle to the world. Remember, you are the only judge and jury of your own experience. My journey is valid. Thank you so much for standing in your truth with me today and for walking through this explainer of our unseen realities. Let this be the day you stop explaining and start anchoring. Let's protect our voltage together. Stay in your stillness.